The timeline and sequence of scientific advancements are often just as important as the discoveries themselves. The history of decompression will help us better understand the purely theoretical aspects. Above all, it will give us the opportunity to clearly identify the mistakes of the past. So, to fully understand how we've come to rely on a small embedded calculator to ensure safety while diving, let's dive into the past. Let's dive into the history of decompression. The very first mention of symptoms occurring after hyperbaric exposure does not concern a heavy-footed diver, but rather workers in the coal industry. The event was reported by Jacques Triget, a civil engineer and inventor of a process that would bear his name. Triget had acquired a mining concession in France, but to access the valuable mineral, he had to cross a layer of alluvium submerged by the waters of the nearby river. Pumping out the water would be like trying to empty the river, so Triget came up with the idea of using a steel tube into which compressed air was injected to push back and contain the water. The workers, quickly nicknamed tubists, worked in dry conditions, with no risk of flooding or landslides. In a paper presented to the Academy of Science in 1841, Triget mainly reported ear pain that occurred during compression and decompression. He noted that beyond a certain pressure, everyone spoke through one's nose and became unable to whistle. In a note published in 1845, Triget stated that 2 workers experienced severe joint pain after exiting the shaft, having spent 7 hours in the compressed air. Despite these difficulties, the Triget method would be used wherever water hindered work. Thus, the Douchy Company began using compressed air as early as 1845 for digging new coal pits in its concession in northern France. By the end of 1847, Dr. Paul, the company's surgeon, and Dr. Wattel, a member of the Medical Society of Douai, wrote a paper on the effects of air compression based on what they observed during the digging of the pit known as La Valleresse. This paper was published in 1854. The authors observed, without explaining, a significant increase in urinary secretion. They reported various phenomena such as breathing difficulties, muscle pain, or loss of consciousness. The treatments of the time were used, including friction, bloodletting, and purgative enemas. Paul and Wattel lamented the death of 2 unfortunate miners. They also noted the clear influence of age. The younger workers seemed almost immune, while older workers displayed symptoms more or less severe at some point or another. They note during bloodletting that the blood they remove is bright red, which leads them to suspect an oxygenation that is too rich. They believe that the main consequence of air compression lies in the pulmonary and cerebral congestion, which seems to be confirmed by the autopsies conducted on the body of the deceased tubist. The coroner's report describes injected meninges and lungs congested with dark, thick blood. Paul and Wattel also observe that the symptoms never appear during work under pressure. They quote the tubists who often say, "You only pay when you come out." They naturally conclude that it is not the pressure itself that should be feared, but rather the return to normal pressure. They recommend the slowest possible decompression. Finally, they report that they found the best way to relieve the pain experienced by the victim is immediate recompression. In the history of decompression, this is the first mention of the therapeutic effects of compressed air.